Hey there, how's it going? I want to do a video here just to document a few games that I've beaten recently and just do a bit of a discussion on them, talk about how the process of beating them and like what I think the final impressions of certain games that I've been beating recently, I thought it'd be a fun little discussion video to just get out there, get some discussion going, I guess. So I got a good stack of games here that from a lot of different platforms and consoles, different generations. So let's get started here. This is no particular order or anything like that. I can't remember that far back because this goes back a few couple months actually. So this is just everything that I've been going through recently. Actually, all of these are games that I've beaten for the first time too. So that's one thing that I also want to bring up. I'm gonna do a series of these videos in the future too, and I want to do I'm going to talk about only games that I've only beaten for the first time. So for the first one here, I'm going to talk about Zelda Twilight Princess. Now this game is really good. For the longest time, I've never really beaten anything after Ocarina of Time. That was like the last chronological Zelda in terms of like release date. None of that like timeline or any of that crap. But this is the only one that I've beaten outside of after Ocarina of Time. Except for A Link Between Worlds, because that's like an older style game and I really like that one. Like that style rather. The game itself, A Link Between Worlds, which I beat a few years back. It's alright. I prefer Link to the Past though. But overall about this game though, it's really long actually. It took like a good month to beat it, mostly because of college and all that shit. And yeah, it's a like sort of a natural progression of Ocarina of Time rather than Wind Waker, which was sort of its own thing. Which I didn't really get into it as much though. Although I tried playing the Wii U version, but I don't know. I just sort of stopped. Didn't really hold my interest that much. But one day I will give it a proper shot though, because I know a lot of people say it's a good game. So I think I'll give that one a shot whenever I have more time though. But right now I just trying to be shorter games though. This one really took a while. So that was that. Really long, not too difficult. Although I did use a walkthrough though. I'm not ashamed to admit I use a walkthrough for a lot of these games because I just don't have the time to really like mess around and get lost and like not know what to do. Here is an interesting one, Kid Dracula, which is a Konami game. Not the most well-known Game Boy game, but it's a really good one though. I highly recommend it. Although if you want a legit copy, this is a repro that I got for like $5 on AliExpress. If you do want a legit copy, you're gonna have to pay around $80 for it, which I don't got that kind of money. I don't know about y'all, but $5 for a repro, that's really a good deal, I know some people out there may not be for repros, they might be against it or something like that, but whatever, I don't really care. I just wanted a way to play it on real hardware, and that's a pretty cheap way to do it without having to do emulation or any of that stuff. And it works on Super Game Boy as well, so that's pretty cool too. And I assume it works on the Game Boy player as well, So the game is really tough though. It's like almost like Konami's take on Mega Man, even though this is actually sort of a spin-off of Castlevania. It's got like a lot of Castlevania type of characters and stuff, although they're a bit cutesier and like the graphic style is really unique and stuff. The music is also really good. But the last few levels can really kick your ass if you don't know what to do, It's really one of those games that you gotta like really like try, like it's a lot of trial and error. You really gotta try like practicing, I guess I should say. It takes a lot of practice to get sort of past the later levels and stuff. So yeah, it's a tough game, but highly recommend it though if you can find a copy of it. So there's that. Great game. Here's a bit of a funny one. Donald Duck's Goin, Quackers. Also got the end label for it too. That's a lifesaver right there. That's really awesome. If you guys can get your hands on one of these, do it for your 64 games. But as for this game, this is absolutely an easy game. Yeah, it's basically made for kids. It's an even easier version of Crash Bandicoot, if you can believe that. It's basically Crash Bandicoot 3 with Donald Duck plastered over it. So if you want like a super easy game, then for like a little kid or something, like if you have like a young niece or nephew or whatever, young sibling, get them to play this game. This is super easy to complete. It takes maybe like an hour and a half, start to finish. I don't think most people would probably like care to really play this. They'll probably want to just play Crash Bandicoot because this is just like a cheaper knockoff version of it. But it's not the worst game in the world. This is more of a, honestly, more of a childhood game. That's why I beat it. I just got this game though. I played it at a friend's house as a kid. Never beat it though because it was his and not mine. And we usually just played like multiplayer games and stuff. But finally got my hands on this game though, like last November during like a Black Friday sale, like Game Over Video Games. This is one of the games I got in that sale, so finally able to actually beat this one, even though it didn't take that long to beat it all though, from start to finish basically. Super easy game. And here I have Shovel Knight, which I got not last Christmas, but the Christmas before that, so 2015. But I finally got around to playing this one though. I think last November maybe was when I beat this one. Which it's, if you've played Mega Man or DuckTales, you'll be right at home with this one. Really good music, really good gameplay. It's a little tough maybe for some people. I didn't think it was that hard though. I think it was definitely manageable. But then again, I am like a huge Mega Man veteran. I can like blast through any Mega Man on the NES from start to finish, like in like an hour or something, you know. So this one wasn't too hard for me, but I'm sure for other people out there though, it might be a little bit tough. But it's nothing that can't be, nothing too difficult though. It's definitely beatable. Really good game though. Like as everyone's saying, it's really really good. Totally agree with that. Next up on the PS1, Siphon Filter. Over the past year, I've really grown out my collection for PS1 games. Like before like January of last year, I maybe had like 6 or 7 PS1 games. Now I have like close to like 30. And this is one of the ones that I got really cheap. But it's a sort of a stealth type of game, like a third-person Metal Gear Solid, if you will. It's a little bit dated though. It's a little bit clunky. Definitely some of the missions can be really tough because of like the camera or like the controls are just a little bit dated, I guess. But it's still a good game though. Still a decent story, I guess. It's good, but like some of the things really did tick me off though. Like near the later levels, like there's definitely some really big levels with like really few and far between checkpoints, and that can be really unforgiving at times. So good game though, good game, but could be a bit frustrating at times. And finally, well not finally, there's still a couple more left, but Final Fantasy IX. What I mean is I finally beat this game because I beat this during winter break and it still took me like almost 2.5 weeks to beat it though. It was so long. Although it was only like around 37 hours compared to like most people play like 50 or 60 hours. But even still though, 37 hours for this, I'm not used to RPGs. I'm not a big RPG gamer, so 37 hours is quite a lot for what I'm used to, at least. The story was really good though. This is the second Final Fantasy that I've beaten after 7. Although I do have a lot of the older ones, but I'm still working on those. But this is the one that I've beaten most recently though, and the story's really good on this one. I like it more than 7, but the combat system I preferred in 7. I think in here it was a little bit more old school for sure. In 7, it's a little bit more, I guess, free, because in here only a few certain characters can use magic. In 7, everyone can use magic. So that's what I mean by, like, it's a bit more old school here. You definitely have classes and all that kinds of stuff. But it's a really good story, though, and the game itself is also really good. Yeah, it's the last couple of hours. The final disc is really tough, though. It was really tough. Like, I would just spend, like, just a few hours grinding just to get to an adequate level, and the final boss is like really like just insane. But I'm so happy I was finally able to beat another Final Fantasy though. Only the second that I've ever beaten after 7. And I don't know which one I would like more. Cause like I said, I like the combat in 7, but I like the story in 9 more. But they're both really good. I'm probably gonna work on 4. In fact, it's on my Super Nintendo right now, so I'm probably gonna work on that one next for Final Fantasy. Cause I've not beaten that one either. But is that the last game? No, it's not the last game yet. So Crash Bandicoot Warped is also one of the ones that I've beaten. I beat it actually like a couple weeks ago though. This one I've never played the Crash Bandicoot games until last year. Last January was when I got the first game, and I played it, and I thought it was okay. Then I got 2, and I really liked that one. 2 is probably my favorite so far. But then I finally got around to beating 3 because the copy that I bought a few months back froze on one of the later levels, and well, I just played it like the first few levels just to make sure it worked. And it did work, but then later on when I got to like one of the final levels, it just froze up. And I check on the back of the disc and I see that it has resurface marks. So that's probably why it was like so messed up that it had to be resurfaced, but even still, like I don't know. I really don't trust resurfacing machines though, so if a disc is resurfaced, I just don't buy it anymore. So I had to actually re-buy this game so I can actually like get through it. So I finally was able to beat it. Like the game has a few really gimmicky type of levels, like the airplane levels and like the bike levels. A few of them are okay, I guess. I did not like the airship levels and where to shoot down the airplanes and the biplane during World War I. And the water levels I just didn't like the water levels at all either. Overall, I prefer Crash 2 over Crash 3, in my opinion. That's just me though. I did not grow up with any of these by any means. I think I did play this one though, like briefly as a little kid. Definitely played Crash Team Racing though as a kid though. I did play that one. I played a little bit of this one though, but just a little bit though, not too much. This past year was definitely the first time I've really gotten into these games though, and it is a good game though. I did enjoy it, although I do think that the time trials was a little bit cheap to just artificially extend the gameplay though. I wasn't a huge fan of that. The game overall is really easy, so like just sort of I would have been in favor of more like making like additional levels instead of having to redo the levels over and over again, basically. You know, I would have been in favor of them like putting in more secret levels like in 2, or I don't know, like finding a way to like, I don't know, just making more traditional Crash levels instead of hammering in these bike levels or these motorboat levels or whatever what have you. But overall, it's still a good game though. I know that a lot of people think this is the best one. I still think 2 was probably my favorite one though, out of all 3 of them. So either way, still a good game though. So finally, out of this stack of games here, actually no, there's one that I didn't have here, but I'm gonna bring it out in a bit though. But here I have Bioshock Infinite. It's a really good game. It's a very a decent story, probably not as good as 1 or 2 though in terms of the story. The gameplay though is right up there. It's classic Bioshock. Although I do like the twist at the end, which for those that haven't played it, I won't give it away, but I did enjoy the story though, even though I don't think it's quite as strong as 1 or 2. But I think the city in the sky concept is really interesting. But in terms of gameplay though, it's basically the exact same like gameplay style as 1 or 2, so it's a really good game though. So anybody that hasn't played it, which I'm sure most people have played it, give it a spin. So it's a really good game. And the one that I don't have out here. Oh, and I forgot to mention that for this game, in terms of actually beating it, it took around 10 hours. It wasn't too long, not too short either. It's the perfect length. Not really all that hard. Yeah. yeah. I just want to talk about the in terms of like beating and stuff. But anyway, Kirby Triple Deluxe. Yes, that's the one that I also beat. I didn't bring it out for some reason. I brought out the wrong one. But yeah, Kirby Triple Deluxe. I beat it also a couple months back. It's a really good game though. Probably one of the best Kirby games. I just got Planet Robobot and it's sitting over there. And I got it for Christmas last Christmas. Yeah. It's a really good game though. They both are, but I haven't gotten too far into Robobot though. But Triple Deluxe is just one of the best Kirby games overall though. Like it's a bit more collectathon-ish because it has you collecting actual like sunstones per level. So you got to do that. But other than that, it's classic Kirby though. It's like you can't really go wrong with that. I think the in terms of the story, it's a little bit more involved than the past Kirby games. I thought it was a pretty nice story, even though there's like no text or no dialogue or anything. It's all told with just like cutscenes and stuff. But overall, it's just a really good game. The power-ups are really awesome. And it's not too long, not too short. It wasn't terribly hard either. Although I think I had a little bit of trouble on the final boss though. But overall, it's still a really good game. Anybody that's like a fan of like classic Kirby, because the last Kirby game that I really got into was probably Superstar. After that, I really wasn't that much of a fan of the series until Triple Deluxe. So anybody that's a fan of classic Kirby, totally check out Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot. Both of those games on the 3DS are fantastic, so check those out. So yeah, that's all the games that I've wanted to discuss that I've beaten recently. I have a few more games that I'm working on currently that I will talk about in a later video. But until then, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed my video. And you guys have a great day. Thank you.